Hello beautiful people, like, share and subscribe. So I want to play this video for you of SANWOLU talking about how they inherited a budget of 620 billion and today the Lagos is doing 2.3 trillion. I'll play the video and I'll let you know my thoughts at the end of the video. Please listen to the end before you start making some very nasty comments.
We need to.
Yeah. Governor, in all of these ideas, there are the fears of some Lagosians who think that you need to be careful in the quantum of debt. Lagos stands as the highest debtor, either foreign or local debt, amongst the federating states and the federating units. And they're worried now, all of these projects you're talking about, you're already mentioning how you're looking for money to borrow, and the fear, what can you tell Lagosians now? Those who feel that Lagos is already in huge debt, and you're talking about this funding and talking about getting funding, the one that you have signed and the one that you're yet to sign.
So Sheon, let's use the proper word. When you say huge debt, there's a difference between a huge debt and an affordable debt in which you look at, you look at your funding ratio, your funding structure, you look at your ability to pay. And I'll give you a simple example. Why did it take us this long before we could complete the blue line? And why did we start the red line and we've been able to complete it, in less than 3 years? It's the audacity of the power of you can do. If after COVID in 2020, we did not take the leap of faith to say that we wanted to do it, today, if you had attempted to want to do any of those infrastructure, not only will it be 4 times the price, you will never be able to do it. If you lose a chance yesterday, today is the next best chance for you. If you leave it, if you don't do it, then you don't have any opportunity to do it. We have a strong conviction in our mind. We know that our people deserving of it. We know that we're doing the right thing in terms of the death. So the ability of Lagos to also carry this thing, we're not reckless. That's why
what's the ratio of debt to GDP, Governor SANWOLU? That's one way we can measure whether Lagos is coping and Lagos is all right. His head is hanging properly, proportionately on his neck.
Absolutely, I can tell you, and you can see my neck, and my neck is hanging adequately. So the debt, ratio that we're meant to meet standardly is about 40%, right? Today we're less than 30%, we're about 29 or 28% of those numbers, right? So we're not even close to it. If you see what our budget growth has been in the last 5 years, when we came in, we inherited a budget of about 620 billion. Today, Lagos State is doing 2.3 trillion. We're probably going to close this year's budget at about 2.5 trillion. Next year, we intend to do 3 trillion. So if you cannot imagine it, if you cannot dream it, you can also not see it. We've tripled the size of the budget of this state. And mind you, Sheon, year on year, we're doing 94% budget performance. This year alone, we're well over 90%. With the support of our House of Assembly, where we transparently show them what we're doing, as partners in this, we have to dream it. We have to be able to take these states, and you've said it, we have to be able to provide security, we have to be able to build infrastructure that can withstand, that can help, to build this state into a place where all of us be proud. Like I keep saying, you stayed in Abuja for too long. You need to come here over a weekend and let's take a ride round, right? So we will never be reckless, All of our funding model, there's a lot of creativity to it, right? And let me just say the last point. Part of the things that we will not sign up for any of those things, see what the interest rate is doing, 30, 28%. Nobody's going to touch that. We're a public finance establishment, right? We deal only the single digit interest rate. So we're waiting. Strategically, we're waiting. On all of the fundings that we're doing on those big infrastructure, they're single digit. And it's very creative, but we needed to plan. We needed to have the ability.
Hello beautiful people, so you've heard from SANWOLU, but first of all, before I make my point, I want to say that Lagos is an example to other states in Nigeria, despite Lagos also being in a very bad state. Lagos is still one of the few states where you can call the ambulance number and they will attend to you, you understand, for emergencies. Most states in Nigeria, those things are almost dead. So I would say Lagos, let me just say, Lagos is still our most progressive state. In Lagos, you can even abuse the governor and nothing will happen to you. You dare not do it in other states. In other states, you will get missing. But let me even say the point I want to say here. Increasing budgets doesn't mean anything. Having a high revenue doesn't mean anything, just like Tinubu was saying. And I was looking at educated people, defending Tinubu that Tinubu increased the IGR of Nigeria. Those things are not important. What is the level of infrastructure in ground? I can tell you that Lagos is one of our most developed states in Nigeria, but still Lagos is very short. Like short in infrastructural terms. Sometimes I feel like Lagos is supposed to be a federal, under federal jurisdiction. Because it's overpopulated and the infrastructure there is not accommodating. But what is even the state government doing with the infrastructure? You know, recently the state governor SANWOLU, which is good, did the rail lines, which is good, but at what cost? Was he overinflated? A lot of people are alleging that those costs of those rails were overinflated, just like most projects in Nigeria. Those are where we should ask questions. But if you look, I've been to Lagos, I've lived in Lagos, but I can tell you that Lagos is not up to first 10 best cities in Africa. And I'm going to mention 10 cities now. And I'm not saying it just to write down on Lagos, even though it's our best city. I'm just trying to tell you how shit Nigeria is. I will mention Rabat in Morocco, Tunis. South Africa already has 4. Pretoria, Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban. You understand? That's already 4. You talk of Namibia City. That's their capital. You talk of Botswana, Gaborone. You talk about Harare. It's better than Lagos. So increasing IGR and without people seeing the effects, it doesn't tell a good story. All this story about IGR and all those things, where Tinubu was doing, and now SANWOLU also using style to do it. If you increase your budget to 1 trillion, if there's no evidence on ground, it's not showing anything. You understand what I'm saying? Look at the debt to budget ratio. Everything is in secrecy. There is no transparency, and no journalist wants to ask questions. That's why all of them are going to channels. Same. I always feel like he's an APC man. He can't ask real questions, So these are just things, some of my issues with, these Nigerian politicians. I've always mentioned it. It's time we'll go regional and scrap this governorship thing. Just have local governments and one mayor in charge of the region. We already have 6 regions. I think that way we can make progress and people can hold our leaders accountable. Why I'm doing this video now, I know some of you will come and say, hey, why don't you go back to your state? As far as we're all lumped together, and I'm not a Yoruba man, as far as we're all lumped together, everybody has rights to criticize each other. I remember once somebody was praising Abia State governor for doing a bus stop. When I saw the video, I was just disappointed. Or today I saw some Yoruba celebrating road, So it just shows you how terrible Nigeria is as a country. And Lagos being one of our best states is still a shithole, just like the whole Nigeria is. So, my dear, Nigeria has a long way to go. If some of you don't know, especially those of you that have not traveled, just try and travel, you understand.